Hello and welcome to another episode of On Deck with Coach Cameron. Really appreciate you tuning in. Our program, our Hangout and podcast program, is designed to empower business owners and entrepreneurs with strategies around business success and marketing. So if you're here, I guess you're here because you want to learn about business success and or marketing. So thank you very much for tuning in. Now today we're going to be talking about a topic that's close to my heart, and that's starting a business. Now, I've started multiple businesses, and just recently I had someone leave me a message on one of my social media channels about starting a couple of businesses himself. And if you're listening today, that person, well done. You've got your topic on the show, so that's really cool for you. But I won't mention your name, but I want to help you out and give you some strategies, because I know the questions you have will also help other people as well. Not only help the person who asked the question, but obviously, a lot of people have challenges when they start a business, and sometimes they come out of an employee role, so they're employees, and they come into the environment. When I say the environment, the business world, the small business and medium business enterprise world, and they've got no experience in business. Now, they might have been in business for someone else. You with me? They might have had a job, and they've been in sales or management or whatever, but running your own business is completely different. I can remember a conversation I had 12 months ago with a consultant, and he was struggling in his consultancy business, whereas previously working for a large organization, he was in charge of $1 million projects, and he was on well over 6 figures a year. And yet this same person who was very successful working for an organization, and turning over multi-million-dollar projects, earning over 6 figures a year plus car and everything else that would go along with it, struggled to find clients in his own business. So here was this guy who was very successful in the corporate world, thinking, man, I could be doing this on my own. Why am I doing it for a company? I could actually do this by myself. I could get myself a website, I could start my own business, and I could do my own little thing, and I could make money, right? And of course that didn't happen for him. He actually did struggle to find clients. He did struggle to make the sale. He did struggle with his marketing on and offline. So there's a moral to that story. Just because you're successful as an employee doesn't mean that you're going to be successful as a small to medium enterprise person. Now, you can, with the right skill set, you can do anything. With the right skills and the right tools, you can improve your situation. So today's episode of On Deck with Coach Cameron is titled "So You're Thinking of Starting a Business," right? That's the title of the episode today. So let me share my screen with you just quickly. Won't be a second. Looks like we're doing that. Okay, that's great. So let's get started. Now, before we go, if you're listening to iTunes, thank you very much. Please subscribe. And if you're watching this on YouTube, or maybe you're not watching this on YouTube, all the Hangouts are streamed live to YouTube. So please subscribe to our YouTube channel, and you'll get updated with all our On Deck with Coach Cameron episodes, plus my regular videos that I put up there. So please go ahead and do that. Just search for Coach Cameron Roberts on YouTube or iTunes, or do the hashtag On Deck with Coach Cameron. Okay, so here we go. So you're thinking of starting a business, and as I said, this topic today comes from a follower, a fan, a connection, I guess you could say, on social media, who contacted me. And he's thinking of starting his own business, and he had a couple of questions around that. He's been an employee. I won't say his name because I don't want to, embarrass him or whatever, but he's been an employee. He's obviously worked for someone else. I believe that he's recently lost his job. And so, at his age, he's thinking, what's next? Do I go and get another job? And then run the risk of losing that job, or do I, make it out on my own in the world of small to medium enterprise and do my own thing. If I can make money for other people, certainly I could make money for myself. These are the things that people think to themselves when they're starting a new business or for the first time. Now, maybe you've been in business before and you've gone back to the workplace, you've gone back to the corporate environment, and maybe you're thinking of getting back into it again. Well, this will also help you. So it's going to be a real short episode today, and I've just got about 4 or 5 really quick points that are going to be really powerful for helping you start your business. So I want you to hang in there and work with me on this. So number 1, what's for sale? Well, the first thing I want you to do is get on the old interweb, right, the internet, and check out what's on the World Wide Web for sale for businesses. So, for instance, if you were thinking of starting up a cafe, well, go on the internet and find, do a search for businesses for sale. There's a couple of major websites, regardless of what country I'm sure you're living in. There's major websites. I know in Australia, for those people who are listening overseas, if you can't tell by my accent, I am an Aussie and proud of it, right? I'm an Aussie, proud of it. But, regardless of whether you're in America, New Zealand, Australia, England, Great Britain, France, wherever you're from throughout the world, right, there's got to be a local website that's advertising businesses in your country. That's usually run by one of the major media outlets. So I know in Australia, there's a few realestate.com and domain.com, and they also sell businesses. You can list a business there, or a business broker can list a business. So why am I saying this? Well, I want you to go on these business for sale websites, and I actually want you to do some research. So for instance, if you're thinking of opening a cafe, I want you to go on the internet and actually see how many cafes are for sale. Now, why would you do that? Well, a couple of reasons here. The first thing, if you go on the internet and you wanted to open your very own cafe from scratch, okay, so you're starting off, you've got to get the capital, you've got to get the systems, you've got to get everything in play, right? Well, you could go on the internet and there might be 400 cafes for sale throughout your country. There might be 100 throughout your state. You know what? Even in your local region, there might be a dozen cafes for sale. There might be half a dozen for sale. And if you live in a small region, we live in a beautiful area called Lake Macquarie. Those who don't know, Lake Macquarie is Australia's largest saltwater coastal lake. Beautiful place. Lots of sailing and water sports and kayaking and all that sort of stuff, and really close to the beaches for surfing and boogie boarding and all that sort of stuff. So it's a really cool place to live. But there's only 250,000 people. Well, when I say only, it's growing. It's probably 300,000 now, but it's not a major city. But we have everything that a major city needs, like malls and shopping centres and so forth. But with a population of 300,000, if I went on a business broking website and I typed in cafes for sale, and I was seeing that there was half a dozen cafes for sale in my local area, that should tell me or should start ringing alarm bells for me. Okay, does this make sense? So, for instance, if you type in, cafes for sale, and there's 6 for sale in your local area, you can do one of 2 things. You can go, gee, I don't know if I want to do a cafe now, because obviously there's a lot for sale. Because the question I ask you is, if there's a lot of businesses for sale in the types of business that you want to start up, what does that say? I mean, if a business was going great and was making lots of money for the owner, and it didn't take a lot of time for them to do it, and they didn't have anything else to do, why would they sell it? Why would someone sell a cafe that's making money if they only have to work in it 10 or 20 hours a week? You with me? If they work part-time and it's generating them 6 or 7 figures a year, why would they sell it? Usually businesses are for sale because either, one of a couple of things. One is the business owner has an exit strategy. They've been doing it for 10 or 15 years and they're getting tired of it. They're coming up to retirement, so it's part of their exit strategy to sell their business. As will a lot of baby boomers. There'll be a lot of opportunities over the next 5 or 10 years to buy businesses at discount when all these baby boomers start selling their businesses. So, if you go online and you search and you see, there's a lot of businesses for sale, again, that should ring alarm bells. You might want to then reconsider the type of business that you're going to start off. Or you could go, there's so many other businesses for sale. Why would I want to start my own from scratch when I can buy something that's pre-established? You know, you might buy something that's already got the branding, the logos, the design, the following, the Facebook page with 5,000 followers, the email list, the staff in place, the coffee, the suppliers. You know, you might buy a business ready-made. Now you might have to borrow more capital to buy that business, but you can see that it will take you a shorter amount of time to make money than it would starting from scratch. Okay, so that's the reason. Now, you know, you can apply this strategy to any business. If you're thinking of opening a gym, you would do the same thing. How many gyms are for sale in your local area, in your state, in your, you know, in your country? And if you go on these business websites and you see that there's hundreds of gyms for sale, or, you know, hundreds of, you know, personal training, fitness centers, whatever you want to call them, for sale, that should ring alarm bells for you, because if there's a lot for sale, you know, what is going on? Now, you really have got to, you've got to make sure, if, you know, you're going into business, that there's a target market. And that leads to my next one, is what are your future competitors doing? And what I mean by that, Google search the local competitors. So again, if you're thinking opening a coffee cart, or you know, a gym business, or a retail business, or a, you know, a trades business like a plumbing center, or plumbing, you know, service, or an electrician, or a builder, or a pool builder, or a photographer, whatever it is that you're thinking of doing, go online and search for people in your local area. Go to the yellow pages and flick through the yellow pages and see how many competitors there are. Because again, you know, when I would do this for my area, you know, I go, okay, there's 300,000 people in Lake Macquarie where I live. You know, how many plumbers can service that area? How many gyms can service that area? How many, you know, how many people are getting married every weekend if I'm a wedding photographer? You know, if I'm a child photographer, how many people are having babies? I'd go up to the hospital and ask them, how many babies are you having? I'd go to the preschools and find out. If I wanted to open a preschool, I'd find out, you know, how many babies are being born every single week at the major hospitals in the area if I wanted to open a preschool, right? And then I'd find out how many other preschools are there in the area, and will my business have the capacity to thrive, not just survive, because you don't want to go into business just to survive. That just kills your energy, because it's okay when you start off, you know, you want to crank it, you want to hit it, you want to get into it, you're really motivated to make this thing work. You know, it's new and exciting, but I'll tell you what, that wears off really quickly. In about 6 months, that'll wear off. You know, you working 60 hours a week, about 6 months, it'll start showing. You know, in most cases, for most people that don't have their health in check, and they don't have their health and fitness in check, you know, it'll probably show up after 12 weeks. But, you know, if you push through and you're the type of person who's really motivated, and you're going to be driving on adrenaline, and you're going to be pushing through, and you're going to be, you know, I'm going to do this, and no matter what, I'm going to get it done. You know, if you're one of those people and you're thinking like that, hey, you could probably make 6 months. Maybe you can even push it out for 12 months, but I'll guarantee you'll hit a brick wall. You'll hit a brick wall, because what will happen is that you'll run out of energy, and then the enthusiasm will start draining. And then when the enthusiasm drains out of your body as the leader of the business, as the driver of this vehicle, your business will suffer. It will flow through to your staff, it'll flow through to your prospects, it'll flow through to your clients, right? So you've got to make sure that you know that there's going to be a market for your business. There's going to be, you know, a hungry crowd. You've got to make sure that you're going to have a hungry crowd coming to your business each and every day. And when I say coming to your business each and every day, that, you know, might be prospects filling out forms on your website. It might be people ringing you up. It might be people visiting you in person. Whatever that is to start your sales process, but you've got to make sure that there's a hungry crowd there. So find out what your competitors are doing. Now, in regards to this as well, once you find out, you know, how many competitors there are, you want to go and mystery shop them, you know, as a prospect. You know, you go out to their business. Again, if you're, you know, a photographer and you're thinking about doing weddings, go to a wedding expo and visit all the wedding photographers and talk to the people who are doing the weddings and the hire car people, and ask them how's business been. Like, you don't have to tell them you've been in business, right? But if you're a wedding photographer, or potentially you wanted to go in and be a wedding photographer, gee, I'll tell you what, it'd be a really smart idea to go to a wedding expo, before you open your business, and talk to the local people and ask them how's business been. How many bookings do you do a weekend with your wedding car, you see? And that will start telling you how many people are getting married. Talk to the people who are booking out venues. How many people do you have at venues? Do you have photographers? And, let them know. Say, hey, I'm thinking about starting a photography business. Do you think there's a market for that? You could do this for anything. If you're a financial planner, an accountant, you could go to a business expo. If you're thinking about being a business coach or consultant of some sort, you could go to a business expo or marketing expo and talk to the people who are there, or go to some other expo and find out, off the people who are already there, what's business like? How have you been going? Is there lots of customers out there? Do you get a lot of inquiries? And start researching them. And you could also do it, obviously on the phone. You could ring up the potential competitors. So again, if you're thinking about, wedding photography, you just ring people up as a prospect. Say, hey, you know what? I'm thinking about getting married, or a friend of mine is thinking about getting married, and we're just wondering, do you have any dates available in the next 3 months? And that would tell you, if there's potential there, and what do you charge, and what's the price? And just ask like 2 or 3 questions. Say, okay, thanks very much for the information, and then ring the next person, right? Again, you could do the same thing if you're thinking about opening a preschool. Ring up all the future preschools. What I would do if I was opening a preschool, I'd not only ring them up, I'd turn up to their door, and I'd sit there at 3 o'clock in the afternoon when all the parents come and pick up their children, and I'd count all the cars coming in, and I'd want to see how many people are coming in and out of that preschool. Then I'd go and do it to the next preschool and the next preschool, right? And I'd do that to like 20 or 15 preschools, because I'd want to know the numbers before I got into business. You see, I want to set it up for success. If I go into business, and I don't go in to fail, I want to go in to win. It's a competition. I've heard it said before that business is a blood sport. And I know like that's a bit graphic, right, to say that business is a blood sport. But man, you get a tough competitor, they want to drive you out of town. They'll do whatever it takes, to make sure that you suffer and you don't make money. And, they'll try and do their level best to cut you out of the equation. If you get a tough competitor, someone who's got a really mean streak, who's got a poverty mentality and who doesn't think there's enough for everyone, I mean, they will do whatever it takes. They'll price war with you. They'll cut you down. They'll badmouth you to people. It goes on. It's a competitive environment. So you've got to make sure you set yourself up for success. You've got to make sure you do your homework. This is what it's really about. And that's why I've got the picture there of the doctor. When it comes to setting up your business, you've got to take a doctor's approach, not like a GP, like a specialist. You're like the heart surgeon. You want to go into this operation. You want to go into this, opportunity with like a heart surgeon approach. You want to, dot your I's and cross your T's and figure out what's the best plan for this to work really well. Because if you're going to operate on someone's heart, you want a successful outcome. You're not operating on someone's heart in hope that it will do all right, or in hope that they'll work out okay. You're going to do a heart operation because you know that you've done everything you can to be successful, right? It's the same in your business. You don't want to kind of go into the business, and put all that time and money, huge amount of capital and investment, even if you get into the business with no capital, but you don't want to go into it and fail. So make sure you find out what your future competitors are doing through some of those strategies that I shared with you. The next thing you need to do is research your target market. So now you know what your competitors are doing. The next thing you need to know is what your prospects are doing. Okay, so I talked about some of these strategies already, but you would go and find out how many kids are being born if you want to do kids photos, or how many people are being booked into preschool, and you talk to parents in the local area. You'd go to like kids expos, or there'd be something on that you could go to or start doing research on. You want to research your target market. Find out how many people actually need you to solve their problem for them, because that's why you're going in business. You're going in business to solve problems for people. So as a business owner, as a small to medium enterprise expert, as a small to medium enterprise entrepreneur, right? You're going into this thing to solve problems for people. You will become a professional problem solver. Okay, I'll say that again. As a business owner, you will become a professional problem solver. The more problems you solve, the more you get paid. So you've got to figure out how you can solve problems for people en masse, how you can solve them and solve them faster. So what are some of the problems that you can solve for people, and compare this again to your competition and include any horizontal competition. And what I mean by that is, if you're thinking of opening a coffee cart, your horizontal competition are going to be the cafes, because people can buy coffee from a coffee cart or a mobile coffee van, but they can also buy it from a cafe that they might want to sit at for 5 or 10 minutes. And they can also buy it from McDonald's, right? They can buy it from a fast food chain. So there's other places at which they can buy a coffee, which are all different experiences for them. So, people want the experience, not necessarily the product. And, and that's another whole topic. It's another whole episode. But you've got to make sure that there's a market, there's a hungry crowd for what it is that you want to do. And when I say hungry crowd, that doesn't just apply to, things like pizza shops. If you're thinking of opening a pizza shop, yeah, you do actually, physically want a hungry crowd. But I'm speaking in metaphors here. You actually want people to be hungry for the products or services that you're about to supply. So regardless of what it is that you're thinking of doing, you've got to make sure that there's going to be a hungry crowd. I recently was working with a bookkeeper, and she was struggling to get prospects because, again, she came out of the corporate market, managing $1 million accounts and so forth. And, she went out on her own and then struggled to find clients. So you've really got to make sure that there's clients there, because just because there's clients in the corporate world, just because there's clients with, what your company's doing, doesn't necessarily mean there's going to be the same amount of people for you to do it on your own as an entrepreneur, or for you to do it as a startup. So make sure you do some research, find out how many people in your area, how many people, are going to use this product and service. The more homework you do, the more successful you'll be in the first 12 months of your business. And that's the crunch time. You need to make sure, if you can get over that 12-month hurdle, well, man, you're on your way, but you've got to make it through the first 12 months. And when I say make it, I don't mean like just survive. You've got to thrive. You've got to you want to hit it out of the park as soon as you get into this sucker, right? As soon as you get into business, you want to be hitting the home run straight away. You don't want to be having like a year of losses, okay? Because a loss will do damage for your motivation and your psychology. You want to be hitting homers all the way through, okay? All right, so the next one is to stay offline. Now, this is a little bit different to what most people will tell you. Most people will say that when you start a business, you need a website. You've got to go out there and get a website, right? Well, actually, I take a different view. And I say to people, if you're not going to, sorry about that, we've got calendar invites, don't you love them? Okay, so I say to people, stay offline if you're not prepared to dominate. And what I mean by that is, if you're not prepared to play hard in the digital space, don't play at all. Because it's like, everyone's playing their A grade game online and you turn up as a D grade team, okay? You're going to get wiped all over the field. And what's the point of cutting corners and buying a $2,000 website or a free website off, one of these free pages that you can set up under someone else's domain, and no one can find you? You're not on the first page of Google. You're not even being found. It's a waste of time, money, and energy. And not only that, if it's a freebie website, it actually devalues your business. So a low cost or a free website will devalue your business, because when people look at two different websites, they're going to look at the one that someone's invested $10,000, $20,000, or even $30,000 in, and they're going to compare it to your cheap-looking website. And straight away, the professionalism of the website will determine where the prospect spends their money because of the perception of the business. So your website is really, it's kind of the window, if you like, online to what your business is like. So if I go online and I search you and I come across your website and it's really cheap, and I can tell it's cheap, and not because I'm a digital marketer or I'm a sales coach or anything like that, but just as a prospect, my wife's not a digital marketer, but she can go on websites and she can tell it like what a cheap website looks like, right? And she'll get frustrated with a website that she goes to and doesn't have the information, or it's just real. She wants really interactive websites like we all do. So I would say to stay offline unless you're ready to play hard. And what I mean by play hard is to make sure that you're ready to go. You've got a great website presence. You're going to do a package with SEO so that you can be found on page and off page SEO. Okay. So here's what I would recommend. If you're going to go online, make sure you're ready to invest $10,000 minimum and upwards. Now, I would say that even if you're a solo entrepreneur, because here's what you're going to need to be successful in the digital place and to be successful. Because we are in the information age. We're in the relationship economy, information age. We're trading information as a currency. And, you've got to be prepared to invest something into this business, whatever it is that you're starting up. So, for instance, you can't get into this game, the small business enterprise game, without investing $10,000 and upwards online. You're going to need a website. You're going to need a professional package, which includes content. It includes copy, images, keywords, on-page SEO, off-page SEO, metadata, social media setup. You'll need to do some Google AdWords. You'll need to consider display ads or social media ads. You'll have to consider a very good CRM and email marketing system. You'll have to work out how you're going to plug all that into your website and connect it all so sales happen systematically and automatically. So these are the things that you need to consider. It's not sufficient enough to put up a website and expect people will find you when you only spend $2K on a website, right? I'll tell you now, if you're spending $2Ks or less on a website, people will not find you. It's a waste of your $2K. You're better off keeping your $2K, keep your $2,000 in your pocket and start your business off without going online. Stay offline, start your business off, get some runs on the board, get some cash flow going, find some clients, get a handful of clients, right, who are paying you $500, $1,000 a week, whatever it is, that you can earn off them, a month, whatever your numbers are for your business. Get offline, join a local business club, right? Join a local business network, go to business breakfast, meet people, get some business cards made up where you can go and introduce yourself to people, walk the local area and introduce your services. Say, hey, I'm Jack. I've just opened a new accounting business down the road. Hey, I'm Jill. I'm just opening a new bookkeeping service. We're servicing local businesses in the area. I don't have a website yet, but here's my card and phone number. I'd love to help you out. Just a simple spiel like that. If you went and visited 100 businesses, you'd probably have all the, customers that you'd need for the first month, and all that without spending, $2,000 on a website. But when you're ready to go and you do want to dominate, well then, make sure you've got that 10K to invest in. That way you can have a great looking website, professional presence, you'll dominate online, you can get a good CRM system, you can get some on-page and off-page SEO going, you can set up all your social media, and don't try and figure all this out yourself if you're not an expert. Pay someone else to do it. If you've never had any experience in building homes, you wouldn't go and try and build your own home, to save money. You go and get a builder to build your home. You with me? Well, it's the same online. You don't want to kind of build a website if you've got no experience in building a website. Just pay an expert to do it, right? It's the easiest way. So, it's like if you were going to invest in property, you wouldn't like go and invest in property or shares and only put in a 2K investment and expect to get rich off that. At 5 or 10% ROI, you're only going to get like $200, return on your investment. So you've got to be careful about going into business undercapitalized and not being prepared to invest heavily with your sales and marketing. And you really want to grab hold of an expert and grab hold of someone that can do it for you, or at least get a mentor, someone who can walk you through the process and help you not make the mistakes and avoid the pitfalls. Well, that's about it for the session today. I hope that's been really helpful for you. If you want to listen to past recordings, please subscribe to iTunes or YouTube. And as I said at the start of the episode today, just search for Coach Cameron Roberts or search for the hashtag On Deck with Coach Cameron. If you'd like more information about what it is that we do, please go to coachcameronroberts.com. We do offer the professional services, in digital marketing. We also do sales training and sales coaching and business mentoring. So you can head out to the website, coachcameronroberts.com. Check us out. And if you're a fan of YouTube, please go to YouTube and click the subscribe button. I'd love for you to be a subscriber. Well, thanks very much for tuning into another episode. I'll talk to you on the next one really soon. This is Coach Cameron signing out. Bye for now.